offering to host breakfast for us, and everybody for being here a little bit early. So you're going to keep us fed and powered for the next several hours. So thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chairman Golden. Well, it's good to see you all this morning, and my mom told me a long time ago, and my grandmother, keep everybody fed well, and everything else usually takes care of itself. There we go. Good to be with you this morning, and hopefully this isn't cutting you now. It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is cutting out. That's awesome.
So I'll keep trying.
Just talk. Just yell.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Back. Good to be with you this morning. I'm John Rose, and my great honor and privilege to represent the 6th District of Tennessee in the U.S. House. I'm in my 8th year, 4th term, but as probably everyone in here knows, I'm not running for re-election, and instead announced a year ago yesterday that I'm running for governor of Tennessee. Obviously, serving in Congress, and I'm going to run through the tape, finish the job I started, because my dad taught me when I was about 4 years old that you finish the work you start. I was painting a gate on the farm, Scott. He gave me a big old paintbrush. It was bigger than me, and a big bucket of aluminum paint, and he said, paint this gate. And he went off to do other work on the farm, and I started chasing butterflies. And you know how a kid would be. And he came back and the gate wasn't painted. And then that's when I learned that, no, we're going to finish this job. And so I'm going to finish the work that I'm doing. But I do feel like that even though I think it's the right thing to do to come home, I think the founders wanted a citizen legislature. And my political hero is George Washington, and he set the standard way back at the very beginning that he served 8 years and he came home. He went home to his farm. And so I'm coming home. But I think I've got some more service left in me, and that's why I'm running for governor of Tennessee. And if it's all right, if it's appropriate, I'll say a little bit about that. I announced a year ago because I knew I needed to get across the state for 2 reasons. Number one, I'd never run statewide before. I never have. And so I needed to get acquainted with Tennesseans that didn't know me. And number two, I needed to find out, what does Tennessee want for its future? Because it's not about what I want. It's not about what somebody in Washington wants. It's not about what conservatives across the country want. It's about what you want. It's about what Tennesseans want for the future. And there's only one way to find that out, and that's to go to Tennesseans and ask them and listen to them. So what am I hearing? 3 things stand above everything else. And coincidentally, if you look at polling data, you'll find that this is what Tennesseans say. They want a governor who will listen. Not one who just comes and talks at them and then leaves, but somebody who will sit down and visit with them, learn about who they are, and listen to what they want in their lives and for their community and for their state. Number 2, they want a conservative, somebody who will apply our Tennessee conservative values to solving the problems of this state. I like to say, for those values, faith, family, freedom. And they want to see those values applied as we take on the challenges that Tennessee faces. And then number three, they want someone who will protect the nature, the beauty, the integrity, the unique qualities of Tennessee. And you know, that's a real challenge at this point, because we've built a pretty good mousetrap here in Tennessee. We have low taxes and low debt and favorable regulations, and we're friendly folks. I think that comes from our Judeo-Christian background. We're taught, and we've, as a people, we're just friendly, and people like that, so they're beating a path to our doorway. But because so many mice are coming, it creates a challenge for our state. We're losing 10 acres per hour, for example, 10 acres of farmland per hour that are being chewed up by development. Wow. That's not sustainable if we want Tennessee to remain the state that we grew up in. So those are the big 3 things that I hear. In terms of the problems, the challenges that they want the governor to take on, what am I hearing there? Well, they want a governor who will fight, who's a fighter, who will fight for our constitutional rights, our First Amendment rights, our Second Amendment rights. They want somebody who will fight to preserve life, the right to life. And we're blessed to live in a state where we have favorable laws for protecting the unborn. We have a particular challenge while I'm talking about children with the Department of Children's Services. I was blessed to grow up in a Christian home with a loving mother who was a school teacher and a dad who was a farmer and 3 great siblings. But not every kid is that lucky. And so the state sometimes has to step in to try to safeguard our children. And we're dropping the ball on that every day. And anyone who's involved in that process knows that. And so the next governor has got to roll up their sleeves and solve that problem and get us on the right track. And then there are kind of 5 other issues that I hear all across the state. What are those? Education, number 1. It's actually not the thing I hear about the most, but I hear about it a lot. I put it number 1 because I think it just has to come first. We have to prepare our children for the jobs of tomorrow. Number 2, infrastructure, roads. That's what I hear about the most. Not just roads. We got solid waste disposal problems. We've got water treatment problems, water purification problems, broadband problems, challenges that we need to meet. Cellular phone. Anybody who travels across the state a whole lot, you know, you don't have to go long until you don't have a cell signal. And that gets in the way of business, and that gets in the way of life. And so we have to take those challenges on. Number 3, access to health care. And I'm not talking about healthcare affordability. That's a big challenge. I know it, and that's one that I hear about too. But in Tennessee, access is a challenge. We've got counties, probably somebody representing a county in here today, I'm sure of it, where the only healthcare is the state health department. That's not good for the future of this state, so we've got to take that challenge on. I've worked on that as a member of Congress. My district today, the 6th district, has 5 counties that do not have a hospital. One of those, Fentress County, we worked to get a standalone emergency room and clinic that is a partnership between Fentress County and the University of Tennessee Medical Center. And I think that is kind of a blueprint for how we take on this problem. Number 4, access to energy. And probably everyone has a certain awareness of that. You might not put that in the top 5 of issues, but I will tell you, if you talk to people involved in economic development, they'll tell you we have to solve that problem. And then number 5, job creation, economic development. 2 things I'll say about economic development. Number 1 is the best jobs are the ones that are born right here in Tennessee. As an entrepreneur myself, in 1992, I and a friend started a business, and we built a business. We were blessed in the 1990s to train over 4.5 million computer professionals all around the world. We created scores of jobs right here in Tennessee. The state never paid us a penny to create jobs in Tennessee. We did it because we were building a business, an enterprise. And I see people in this room who I know have created businesses themselves. That's got to be the priority, because those are the best jobs. They're the most enduring jobs in our economy. The second point I'll make about economic development is that we need to be in a position to be choosy about the companies that we recruit to come to Tennessee. Too often we go out and we attract some Fortune 500 company to come here, and the moment they arrive, they say, y'all are a bunch of hayseeds. You need to change your value. We need, as a state, to be in a position sometimes to say to those companies, you might want to look at California. You might be more comfortable there.
Amen.
And send them on their way. But if we're going to do that, we've got to get education, infrastructure, healthcare, and energy right so that we can turn people away, because we know there'll be others that do fit with the values that we hold dear as Tennesseans. Those are the things I'm hearing all across the state. Now, I will tell you, because I know we've got some people from Shelby County and West Tennessee here. If you're in Shelby County, they'll tell you there are 3 big problems, and they're not on the list that I've already talked about. What are those 3 big problems? Crime, and crime. And so that's a problem in Shelby County. It's actually a problem in Nashville. It's just masked by the other things that are going on in Nashville. And frankly, it's a problem all across this state. And so we've got to have a governor who will not just discard Memphis, but we'll work to make Memphis what it should be, is the capital of the Mid-South, a crown jewel for Tennessee. Imagine if Memphis was doing as well as Nashville and Chattanooga and Knoxville. If Memphis was thriving, this state would be unstoppable. That's what we need from Tennessee. I'll end by saying this. People also ask me, why you? Why should you be our next governor? And I've got an answer for that. And the answer is, the job of being governor of Tennessee is the job of being CEO of our state. We have over 40,000 state employees. If you add teachers, that's another 60,000. You're over 100,000. So we need a leader who has experience doing that kind of work. I've been in the legislature for the last 7 years in the Congress, and it's been very interesting, and I've learned a lot. And it's a challenging job at times, but it has very little to do with running a large organization. I decide, and every legislator's job is to decide whether to vote yes or no. We have a small staff, but we don't have to make payroll like I did as the manager of my own company. So I know what it's like to sign the front side of a paycheck. I know what it's like to find the right people to put in the right seats on the bus to get the job done. And we can't afford as a state to have to depend on the job training. And so my parents taught me to be modest, and I will tell you with all due sincerity, I don't think I'm probably the best qualified person in Tennessee to be governor of Tennessee. Maybe that's a frank admission that I shouldn't make, Scott. I don't know. But I suspect there's somebody, maybe somebody in this room who is more qualified to be governor. That's possible. I think it's probably true. However, of the people running for governor, and we now know who that is, the field is set, it's not even close. No one else running, not in the Republican Party, not in the Democrat Party, and not as an independent. No other candidate has the experience I do that would equip me to be capable and competent to be the governor of Tennessee. And so that's the case I'm going to make. That may sound a little braggadocious. My mom would probably chide me for saying that. But the truth is, you got to call it like you see it. And I believe we'll make that case to the people of Tennessee that I'm ready to go to work, ready to roll up my sleeves on day one. I have the enthusiasm, the energy, the vitality to take this job on, because this is not an easy job of being governor, and I think you all agree with that. I believe it'll be the hardest job I've ever had. So it's not a retirement job. It's not a reward for past performance. It's not a trophy to put on a shelf somewhere. It's a job to serve you, and I'm asking you to hire me to do that job. I hope you'll give me a chance to earn your support, and I ask for your vote, and thank you very much.
Thank you.